Okay, cool. Okay.
Hold
And
on,
so
man.
we start with the law, Brother Howard said, which is this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, brothers. Thank you for inviting me to the Moore's Trading Oasis Zoom call. I'm Brother Howard X. Robinson, and what I was doing is want to present just a few bits of information on organizational funding without always going to a GoFundMe page or a charity handout or something. We should be in business for ourselves. So the IC up here, you see, is Indiana Code. This one is 23-18-2. It say organizations and powers, and section 1 says a limited liability company, LLC, may be organized under these articles and may conduct business in any state for any lawful purpose unless a more limited purpose is set forth in its articles of organization. So I've studied this, and this has been studied since 2009. If you scroll down a little bit, the topic for today is more focused on what powers do we really have. So if we say the limited liability company can make contracts and guarantees, it can incur liabilities, it can borrow money and issue notes, bonds, and other obligations. And I emphasize the words bonds because those things are what we're going to focus in today. And of course, the rest of that paragraph says, and secure any of its obligation by mortgage or pledge of any of its properties, franchises, or income. So that income is what pays that, is that security for that bond program. Let's go to the PowerPoint slide on City Mouse, Country Mouse. You can close that document up. We'll do this presentation here. This is a 2009 document. If you set that up as a PowerPoint slideshow, I'm gonna go through what we were doing, but it did not come into full fruition. But we were called City Mouse, Country Mouse Corporation. The mouse stands for Members Organized and United for Sustainable Economics. That was the mouse, not the little mouse that run around your house. And what we were trying to do is we were trying to capitalize on the acquisition of some land so that we can have some sustainable economics, because they call that agribusiness. Next slide, please. There we go. What we had is out in Brownsburg, Indiana, there was about 10 acres. And if you look in here, it had not only land and facilities, but the management corporation was established to start some kind of economic system that the YSTEM didn't put out. But if you look at those little window panes down there, those are organic gardens that were sold in order to raise money. We also had that property that we looked at had about a 7 or 8 bedroom house over here to the front of it, and to your left side you'll see a garage. It was a 4-car garage which was going to be housing science and technology. The one just adjacent to that black walk you see there was a garage or a barn, which we would house about 2 or 3 cows trying to grow raw milk. It also had a sleeping quarters up overhead, just like they had a helping hand. And off to the left, they had I forgot what they call that utility building, where they kept big farm tractors and etc. Next slide, please. They say we come out to 2 years ago, back when they created those 9 ministries and that deliberative dialogue to start talking about it. And what happened was Brother George was telling me the story, as you see on the bottom bullet, about 2 mice, one living in the city and the other living in the country, and how they shared lifestyle. So let me try to rephrase that story how he told me. He said there was a city mouse that visited his cousin, the country mouse, in the farm, and they invited him up to the city for some good living. And he took him up to the city, and they went in the evening when the lights went out, they would go out into the master's house. And what they would do is they would eat good. They would have cheese and cake and ice cream and chicken and all kind of food that is served in the urban community. And all of a sudden, the city mouse hollered, "Run, run, the cat, the cat!" And they ran to the mouse hole. You might have saw some of this on some of the Tom and Jerry shows. But anyway, to make the story go further, what happened is he said, "Wow, that cat is sure rough, man. We got away that time." He said, "Yeah, but he got a piece of my tail," said the country mouse. And but anyway, the country mouse was packing his bags and said, "I'm going back home to the rural country because I know it's good eating up here, but I'd rather live a long, wholesome life in the country." So that story forked the thing that tied me back to the brothers that we live. We live in this urban community, and that cat being the police, being the officers of the law, chasing brown brothers and actually killing them nowadays. So we've come quite a ways. Next slide, please. We are incorporated like this, but this was it was about 3 miles outside of Indiana, but these are all of the contact information. We can go to the next slide. Our vision was to have agribusiness and organic gardening because the best way to earn a living or to feed our community is through farmland or agribusiness. And since there was a trend in organic farming, we had put together this program so that we can feed our people, as you see in this raised bed garden, bell peppers and a few other things. This was already at that farm that we were trying to buy, which was actually priced at $500,000 with all of those structures on it, et cetera. And it was actually move-in ready, so to speak. Next slide. We went down to Fort Worth, Texas, and presented this program. And we met a brother named Brother Robert out of Fort Worth. He says, this seems like there's nothing like farm living with modern conveniences, is how he coined it, because today's environment, we can live real good, even though we're living in a rural environment. That rural environment was only 3 miles from the interstate and about 9 miles from downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Next slide, please. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching us to do for self once again, and the Bible teaches God bless the child that got his own, meaning that we should own some land to grow our own. We had the food supply that currently is being genetically modified. And of course, the economics of this world has a desperate impact on the so-called middle and low class people as far as getting food into the masses in our community. Next slide. We had some definitions that we talked about. We talked about what is economics, and the first definition was of or relating to a household and its management. A lot of people don't know that that economics is not always about cash and money. It's about managing a household. And the third definition was of or relating to production, something produced, production, distribution and consumption of goods and service. That production being something grown or something made by hand and or distributed to the masses. Next slide. Why should you own a share of City Mouse, Country Mouse? Next slide. Well, we offered several ways to own ownership. One was this bond, as you just mentioned earlier with the organization of the LLC, we could sell bonds. If you look at the system, this was created by some brothers in assistance to me. I wasn't doing this by myself. We had a group. And if you look at it, it was a numbering system at the bottom with Country Mouse, City Mouse, trying to control the document. And you see it's an LLC bond for $100. You'll see a month and a year there. That was the payoff or the payback upon bond maturity. If you're familiar with bonds, you can have them set up several ways. You can pay the bond back monthly after 6 months, or you can pay it back a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year bond that will be established at the beginning. Let's see the next slide, please. What we were doing, as you saw in the earlier slide, which we'll bring back up, is Dr. Ali Muhammad says that he enjoyed this. He says you can purchase a 12 by 12 organic garden plot for $400. And he called it land at the price of carpet. You can't even buy a good piece of 12 by 12 carpet for $400. We were going to allow you to become a landowner and participate in ownership. And that ownership means that the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe, meaning that you own something, we were going to actually deed it entitled to you if you wanted to be a purchase participant. And then, of course, one of the reasons that that would work is because we're going to share knowledge, resources, tools, and other things on the gardening. For example, instead of 200 people owning 200 shovels, 200 rakes, 200 water cans, 200 rain barrels, 200 wheelbarrows, etc., we would all share that garden community because we wouldn't have to buy it but one time, and everybody share those resources, including the garden tractors and what have you. Next slide. We want to grow healthy food without chemicals. Of course, acquire personnel gardening support available. And then, okay, save cash on organic groceries because you don't have to have them shipped all over the country. The community in which we're growing those vegetables, herbs, and fruit would be the community that we serve. And as you can see now, during this epidemic or pandemic, or during this war, actually, with what's going on in the economy, we'd be able to halfway serve our people some kind of food to eat. Next slide again. One of the other reasons why I own it is because a lot of people don't know it, but if you ever file a tax filings in the United States, the IRS allows you to claim profit and loss from farming. This is not the format in which to talk about it, but there's a Schedule F. We always talk about farm subsidy. Well, it's available for us too, if we were able to get into the tax format and get it set up so that these organic farms are classified as a farm. So as the individual own it, they would get a substantial write-off from the seeds and the purchase and any loss that we might have in our growth season from, I guess you call it floods or other unforeseen conditions that affect the farm. Next slide. What we were trying to do, if you didn't want to own the farm, we were going to sell you a bond. Well, we're going to sell you a bond, and it's going to be backed by that plot of land that we told you. We were going to offer a simple interest rate of 3%. Right now, that's about almost 300 times what they're paying in the banks for your saving bonds. So if you had $1,000 in the bank earning 3%, you would have $130 at the end of the year. But right now, you're not even earning that, probably 0.5% on any of savings. But we were trying to sell $500 denominations that can be changed. We were going to offer maturity of 3 years, and we we're going to pay it monthly based on the sales of the produce, the crops that we raise. You know, the crop turnover is every 90 days, maybe 120 days after the first planting, and especially if you had the ability to grow about 9 months out of the year using the hoop home or the it's slipping my mind, not the hoop home, but the greenhouse gardening method as well. Could produce 9 months out of the year up here in the Midwest. Next slide. Okay, okay. That's the end of the slideshow. If you come up and if you bring up the organic garden again, that little plot, I'll show you the photos related to raised beds. If you look at it, yes, sir. If you look at that, that's 12 by 12. I had a farm in Tennessee, not a farm, I had a garden in which I demonstrated how much food can be grown in this 12 by 12 lot. It looks like it's not a lot of land, but it certainly can produce a lot of food, particularly organically if you paid a little attention to it. I was able to produce enough melons, greens, vegetables, green peppers, carrots. I raised some corn. I tried just about everything to, like we said, in some of these environments called proof of concept. You will certainly earn your money back way over $400 worth of groceries in the first planting season, barring any incidental process that could have happened to you. This program failed. I think it didn't fail. What I'll say is it didn't get off the ground because it was hard to convince people at that particular time. It's about 20 years ago. The importance of trusting each other and believing in the bond program because they had never seen such. We are used to raising money two ways. We go to the job and we expect a wage, or we go to some kind of charitable organization looking for some kind of handout, GoFundMe, you put a title to it or whatever. So with that being said, if you close that out and get us back to a face-to-face, I sent one more document. I thought, let me see, did I send one more document which will wrap this up? Let's see. That first option, I think right there. Yes, one more down, I think. One more down, brother. The document right up under there. Yes, sir. I think that was okay. If what you're looking at is just a general pictorial of the home that we based this model on. If you look at it, we were also going to offer a retreat. If you ever been on a timeshare location, you would travel to a place for a week vacation and you'd stay on the place and you participate in all the activities that they had. In this particular environment, we were also not only just selling raised beds, but we're going to try to do a farm share. In other words, come to the farm. And if you look at some of the photos, you'll see to the right of your screen, we had a pool table, a pool room with ping pong balls, etc. You'll see the swimming pool, covered Swift swimming pool. We mentioned Mars 74 in there. We was also intending to have a water shop, spring shop. The brother that's selling everlasting spring water, brother Shadero Muhammad. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the bedroom is a master bedroom with a shower and jacuzzi in it. That's a second picture of the pool room. Going to the next page, brother. If you look over there, the place had already snowmobiles. So some people, you always think about the summer vacation. What about the winter vacation coming to the 10 acres and being able to snowmobile and stuff? We also had the cows out there in the barn with the raw milk. You'll see the hallways and stuff where it was social atmosphere. There's the jacuzzi. There's the first harvest over there on the first option. And of course, we were using the making his word bond, which is one of the things that we found in the supreme wisdom. Word is bond and bond is life, and I'll give my life before my word could fail. The bond is only a promissory note that's legal in this country and it could be legally transmitted as an LLC. We can go back into the open forum right now with ourselves visible.